Run Your Story family, this is Allison Gilliard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And truly an honor to be able to share with you guys our friend, Ben Roberts. And I say our friend because he actually grew up with Gray and they reconnected through running. And Ben comes down from Atlanta and he'll run some mobile events. And so they were out running and Gray was like, hey, I know that guy. And turns out it was Ben. And so reconnected, and now Ben has become my friend, and did not know this as well, but I know Ben's sister Jamie. And so it has been so fun to be able to come full circle and to sit down with Ben and his run story, which is absolutely phenomenal. And not only does he love running, he loves F3. And so that's been really cool to learn about that and to learn about how truly important community is to Ben. And cannot wait for you guys to hear his mantra about hills. It's gonna be great. You guys are gonna love it. So thank you, my friend Ben. You are absolutely incredible. Your heart for people and the community is absolutely extraordinary. So thank you so much for taking time to share your story with us. Thank you so much to Gilliard Tech Services for not only powering up our podcast this month, but introducing us to Ben and allowing all of us to be able to hear Ben's story. And that is because of Gilliard Tech Services. Guys, if you don't know already, Gilliard Tech Services is your go-to when it comes to customizing or updating your website. And he takes all things into consideration and wants you to have your dream website. And he does such a phenomenal job. He can take any ideas that you have and turning into something magical online. It's absolutely incredible, the gifts and talents that Gray Gilliard has. And he has done that for Run Your Story, and he's done that for countless others. So definitely, guys, go check him out at gilliardts.com. He's also on social media. You can also check out show notes. His information is there as well. And so thank you again, Gray, for all that you do for Run Your Story, for this running community, and for making this month possible for our run stories. All right, guys, get ready, get set, and go run with my friend Ben and his run story.
Thank you so much, Ben. I'm so excited to have you on. We've been talking for, it seems like a really long time about having you on the podcast. You are deeply rooted from the Clark County, Washington County area. You grew up with Gray, who is not only our editor, but also he's our podcast partner for this month. When I said, hey, who do you want to be highlighted this month? He said, I want Ben Roberts. Thank you for making his dream come true.
Well, it's awesome. And I'm really grateful, as I mentioned, as we've connected, just how awesome it is to be able to be on here and to listen in to everybody's story and just being able to share mine. I hope that it's an encouragement to other people and helps them see that where they are is right where they're supposed to be in their journey.
Oh, that's already so good, Ben.
That's how I feel.
So good. Well, let's jump right in. What is your run story?
Oh, man. So my run story, well, I'll start it with this. I only ran when I was being chased by all of my cousins or my brother or friends growing up and out in the country in South Alabama, in Washington County, St. Stephen's to be exact, or when I was playing football. As I grew up and got out of playing football, I went to Alabama, played some sports, but I never was really into running. It was just part of what I had to do to be able to play the sports that I wanted to play. And then my sister, brother-in-laws, they were running marathons, and I was like, y'all go, enjoy it. Not interested. But then I joined a company in 2013, and I had an awesome boss, and his name's Bob Ortiz. He was just this inspirational leader, still is to this day, an incredible influence in my life. But he would host these 5Ks that we would do at work whenever we would have our national sales meetings. And he would beat me. And he was significantly older than me. So I was like, I'm going to beat that man one day, which I never did in one of the races. But he just really inspired me to challenge myself. And I really didn't get into running until COVID happened. I was like, I need something to do. I had a couple of kids, so I took the smaller ones and I put them in a bob stroller and I started running. Just kind of went, 1.5 miles, 2 miles, kept kind of increasing the distance and realizing, it's actually fun. They would ask me to go for runs. But I didn't really pick up my distance until 2023. That was when my uncle, who I was really close with, passed away from a tragic car accident. I went out running and I just kept going. I just felt like running and I did. So I just kept on going and was crying and letting my emotions out and really kind of connecting to my thoughts, and realized this is really a great way for me to honor him. So running has become much more for me as my story in running. It started in these challenges, if you will, of my boss was getting us to do these runs, watched other people run, didn't have a lot of interest in it until all of a sudden there was some pain that I needed to face down. And being able to run has really become an outlet for me. It's a safe place. It's kind of a place where I can go. And if I go by myself, turn a podcast on, book, maybe some slow jams, maybe some fast jams. I don't know. But it really connects to something much deeper for me. And then also the community that has surrounded me in it is an amazing thing. I didn't know what I was going to find when I started to increase my distance. And what I found was really a family. Runners are some of the most kind and generous and interested people. I said interested, not interesting.
Yeah.
Don't take it to your heads, folks. But it's truly an awesome thing to get out and just be able to move with people. And it's really great.
Absolutely. I say that when we go to running events, that it's like one big family reunion. It's just so fun to be with people that it doesn't feel like you're racing them, like you're doing this together. And there's your crazy aunt and your cool uncle. And, like I have a running mom and I have all these siblings and cousins, like something that I didn't have that now I do. And it's the one thing that I just look forward to is just seeing, as you said, your people and just being there. And I totally agree with it being a family. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It's just with any family, there's also dysfunction occasionally, but it's probably the most grace-filled family that I've ever been in, It's like, hey, you had to take a break halfway through, you had to walk or whatever it is. I'll walk with you. I'll take my time.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's not just every man or woman for themselves. We're in it together. We're maybe chasing our own PRs, but really it's much more than that, is what I've found.
Oh, absolutely. You also found F3. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I love talking about F3 and I love to go to F3. So for anybody who's never heard of F3, it's a national peer-led free workout group for men. That's really what it is. So the F3 is for fitness, fellowship, and faith. So it's something that allows any man to show up. You can show up as you are. You don't have to be at a certain fitness level. It's free of charge. And the ultimate goal of F3 is that they are going to inspire male community leadership. So at corporate F3, they have created this environment where men can come as you are. You meet people. Most of the time it's at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And they're local throughout the entire country. If you want to check it out, it's f3nation.com, and you can go in there, find your locations. You don't have to show up and expect them to ask you for a donation or anything like that. Just be there. And the great thing about it is that I've made some incredible friends through it. And I really don't even have enough time to shout out how many of the men that I've met through it that have made a difference in my life and who have welcomed me in to breathe life into them as well. And that's been the greatest part of it. Not just the fitness, not just the fellowship or even the faith component, is that it really developed brotherhood. There's also a female group that's called FIA, Females in Action. So same setup, same style, same goal. Early in the morning. For those that don't like to wake up early, just try it a few times. You'll get used to it. But it's early and you get out and sweat a little bit. Always, 45 minutes, maybe an hour workouts on the weekends. And running groups get formed in that. And I've met some of the most incredible friends through that I've ever had in my entire life.
I love that. So how did you get involved with F3?
My friend that I've known now for 18 years that I met when I first moved to Atlanta, the same night that I met my beautiful wife, Alyssa. We met the same night, and we had moved out to Texas, and then we're moving back to Atlanta. And he said, "Hey, you need to come go to this workout thing with me." And I say, "Okay." I'm kind of that guy that if you're like, I've got an idea to do something and I want someone to go with me, I'm like, yeah, I'll go. So he's like, all right, I'll pick you up at 5:15. I was like, oh, tomorrow afternoon. He's like, no, tomorrow morning. And I was like, all right. So he picked me up and went out there. And that's really how it starts for most people. But the interesting thing about that, though, and to your question, is he brought me out, but then I kind of stepped away from it. I didn't get fully engaged. I was going once every week, maybe twice a week for a little while. And then I dropped out of it because it got cold and I didn't want to be cold. I'm from South Alabama. Okay. But then I was at a Christmas party about 8 or 9 months later, and I saw these guys that I had done some F3 stuff with, and they said, "You got to come back. We miss you." And
Aw.
I felt like, you know what? I should go back out there. It was cold. I mean, like, this was like freezing around Christmas time when it was really cold. I think into 22-ish, 21. I don't remember whatever the year was. It was cold. It was like 5 degrees on Christmas Eve. Okay. And we did a Christmas Eve. Some people call them boot camps. We call them beat downs here. So
Oh, okay.
which is
That's
very
fair.
intimidating. It's, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes. But, and everybody that take turns leading the group. So the guy that was leading that day come up with your own workout. They give you resources to be able to pick stuff. But he put together this just god awful workout that was just tearing me to shreds. And I was like, this is good for me. It's interesting whenever you realize the pain and discomfort actually can make you better. And it's a lot easier to go through pain and discomfort when you've got other people that are doing it with you and encouraging you along the way. So from then, I don't think I've gone more than 2 or 3 days without being at F3. And for all those reasons I mentioned, I can't imagine my life without it.
I love that. That's so cool. Oh, I'm definitely going to check it out. And I'm going to tell Gray to check it out too.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that so
So
much.
there, it's in Mobile.
I love that. So obviously, you have learned some valuable lessons from running and from being involved in F3. So what are some of those?
Yeah. So my late father-in-law would always say that you're stronger than you think you are. And as I've lived a little bit of life, he passed away in 2013. And I've seen that that's become very much true as I've run more and more. And yeah, sometimes it hurts and you're supposed to stop, right? Sometimes it hurts because you're hurt, you know? But sometimes it just hurts because it's hard. And when it hurts because it's hard is the time where you push through and you can tell the difference between the two. But more than anything, running has shown me that I need people and that without people, it's really hard to do hard things. Nearly impossible.
Oh, that is so good. I love that. So let's talk about, because you not only run in your area, but you come down to Mobile a lot and run. So I'm really interested to know, what is Ben's favorite race?
I will say that it is a Mobile race.
Okay.
It is the Turkey Trot for Hope.
Really? Okay.
I love it. I love it. I get to do it with my sister that I mentioned earlier. Usually even more of my family. I've got a brother and 2 sisters. You know, we get our kids out there, still trying to get Nana and Pops to come, but you know, they usually are cooking. But we always show up and it just feels like the holidays. It's kind of like, I personally, this is going to offend some people, but I'm okay with Christmas music starting on November 1st, but it doesn't really feel like Christmas time until I go to Turkey Trot. I love it. It's great. The environment, downtown Mobile, it was around Battleship before, and yeah, I just love it.
Oh, it's so good. And the costumes are so fun. All the different turkeys and inflatables and yeah.
I have my knee-high turkey socks, so if you see me out there, I wear them every year.
I love
They're
that.
terrible. Oh,
That's awesome. Okay. What does your pre-race routine look like?
You know those swingy leg things that runners like to do, where it's like your legs on a pendulum and
Hmm.
you're trying to loosen your hips up? That's my favorite as I'm just about to run. I like to do that because it makes me laugh because I know that it just looks so stupid when we're standing there swinging our legs around. Like, no, nobody runs with their legs straight out, but for some reason it loosens up the hips.
So your pre-race is giggles. That's what it is.
I like to laugh. Okay, we gotta have fun. Okay, so what else? What else pre-race is there? It's like nobody wants to get out on the course, whether it's a marathon, and have to make a visit to the porta potty. So let's just call the truth, right?
Mhm.
You got to give yourself time
Mhm.
and get yourself hyped up a little bit, but then calm the heart rate down. Just
Mhm.
remember that you're not Usain Bolt and think through what you're going to do and figure out if you can make yourself laugh about halfway through it. Makes it a lot easier.
Do you really make yourself laugh halfway through?
I try. I try to make myself laugh. Some people don't think I'm funny, but I think I'm funny. So I laugh at myself.
Do you tell dad jokes halfway through? Like, what do you do to make yourself laugh?
Well, if I have a playlist, I will throw in Mississippi Squirrel Revival in there, old Ray Stevens, and you throw in a funny song. It's just good. It makes you laugh. Right.
I just would like to be there when you're halfway through the race and you just start giggling. What does the people next to you like? They're like, he's gone crazy. Like he's
Well,
delirious.
it usually clears the path because they're like, he is crazy. So then I don't have to weave and I don't end the race with an extra quarter of a mile from bobbing and weaving because they just get out of the way and I can stay on the blue line.
That strategy. That's hilarious, Ben. Oh, I really hope there's a photographer out there somewhere that halfway through a race gets a picture of you just laughing.
I want someone to capture it. You know what? The next time I'm
Oh,
going to actually just record myself and I will
please
send
do.
it to you. I have a race that I'm thinking about coming up on that I'm not sure I'll be laughing halfway through it because it's the
Mhm.
50K. And I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, that's going to be a stretch. Oh,
Laugh
now
at
I'm
the
laughing.
end.
Yeah, yeah. Or cry. I don't
Or,
know what I'm doing. Laugh.
oh man.
Glad I'm still alive.
Oh, that's amazing. I just, sorry. I'm trying to get myself together here because I was not expecting that.
Told you we were going to have
Oh,
fun.
oh man, I'm crying. That's so funny. Okay. So you've laughed, crossed the finish line. What does your post-race routine look like?
Oh, I'll maybe I'll laugh again. Okay. Laugh at myself, maybe. Make sure that all my faculties are in check. A little while back, running the seaside, I realized that I busted my toe around the 9 mile mark.
Oh,
So that was, yeah. And there's no video for this, but I would show you my toe. It's growing. It's the nails coming back.
how
But
did you
anyway,
was there something that happened?
I think I kicked something and
Oh,
didn't
okay.
mean to or didn't know I did.
You tripped someone.
It may have been. Sorry for whoever that was, but no, I really do just sit there and I'll go back to the finish line. I'm not usually the first by any means, but I do just go back to the finish line and either cheer my friends on or
Mhm.
just try to be there. Again, running is not just about you; it's
Mhm.
about lifting others up as well. And when I don't care who it is that's cheering for you at the finish line, you hear them be like, "Oh, keep going."
Mhm.
Sometimes that's me, and I
Mhm.
like to be there. In F3, we talk about picking up the six, which is you never leave anyone behind.
Mhm.
And when these workouts are happening, different people at different fitness levels are attending. Well, we might have some running involved or some longer distances or different, it's all calisthenic workouts. And whenever you finish, you're done, but maybe someone else isn't. So the idea is that you always go pick up the six. You never leave anyone behind. There's
Mhm.
no one should ever feel like they're just lagging and waiting.
Mhm.
So that's how I approach the finish line at the end of a race, as well as be there. Sure, I'm not going to go back out on the course and go, run back with somebody. If they'd let me, I probably would, frankly. But it's more of a reflection of what running does for me. That I think that after a race, you can go back and get to that finish line and be proud of yourself, and then go cheer the other people on and pick them up. So pick up the six.
I love that. Oh, that's so good. So, what is your favorite running item?
Ooh, this is such a hard one. I'm not a gadget person, okay?
Okay.
But I've become more of a gadget person. So I'm in my gadget era, if you will. Okay. And, I got the Garmin watch. That's been actually really helpful. I know what my VO2 max is for the first time in my entire life. I know that I can't keep pace for crap, but my watch and then my lined shorts.
Oh,
I love,
okay.
because, you got the ones with the little phone pocket in them. And you can just kind of pop the phone down in there. You don't have to run awkwardly holding it. And, you can keep your chip fingers out there so you don't get too tight of shoulders and stuff. I think that I'd have to choose those two.
Okay. Running shoes. What do you run in?
I run in Hoka Cliftons.
Okay.
Always.
Always.
I tried some, gosh, which ones? Can't remember. The guy at Fleet Feet showed them to me and I tried them. They were carbon. And he was like, yeah, you should maybe try these for a race or something. And I just felt they just hurt. I run in my Cliftons and won't turn back on them.
There you go. Okay. The best. Okay. You mentioned that you're preparing for a 50K. So for
Well, I
your
don't know if preparing is the right word, but now that I'm on this, maybe I am preparing for a 50K.
it's going to be out there. So for your longer runs, how do you fuel?
Yeah, so I love coconut water.
Okay.
Yeah. So coconut water and bananas, and then I do the goos sometimes. I don't kind of a texture about them that makes me kind of, how whenever you need a dog to take a pill and they won't eat the pill. Whenever I was a kid, we would take the pill and wrap it in peanut butter and we would stick it on the roof of their mouth and they would just sit there and lick the roof of their mouth for a while. That's how I feel with goose sometimes.
A dog taking a pill.
Dog taking a pill. Yeah. So fueling, yes, but the coconut water is amazing. My wife turned me on to that stuff and it's awesome. I can handle the goose, but coconut water mostly.
There we go. Okay. Let's talk about a favorite running memory.
I think that for me, it's a combination of moments that make up the memories. I'll say that if there was one standalone, it was running the seaside earlier this year and seeing my aunt, who was the wife of my uncle who passed. And after he passed, I actually signed up for the race after the run where I was crying and I said, I want to do this for Uncle Willie. And seeing her standing there, smile on her face, cheering me on, and knowing that I was honoring a great man, someone who had just made such a difference in my life just by running, right? I was honoring him though, and seeing his wife there. That was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, running memory.
That is absolutely amazing. Wow. Whew. Wow, these answers, Ben. Okay. So, is there ever something that when you cross the finish line that you're like, I cannot wait to eat this?
I love hamburgers.
Okay.
I just love a good bacon, lettuce, avocado, tomato, hamburger, and maybe add a beer in with it and just guzzle it down after the fact. It's good.
Of all the places you've been, what's the best burger place?
Ooh,
It wasn't on the questions.
it was not. Aaron, best burger. Gosh.
It can be more than just one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I appreciate the freedom and being able to choose more than one option in burgers because, when you think about a burger, the patty itself can't be too thick, right?
Okay.
And if you're going to have a lot of meat on the burger, you need a few patties. That's just me. But There's a place in Atlanta called Craft Burger
Okay.
that I do really enjoy their BLAT. And then there's a place in Naples, Florida called Brooks Burgers. They have an amazing array of hamburgers. And I can't pick just one, but I would say that out of all the burger places that I've ever been to, I would absolutely go with Brooks Burger as the best overall burger establishment in the entire United States of America. Fight
Oh,
me on that.
oh, he will run a race for Brooks Burgers.
Mm. I will run 2 races. I will go pick
Oh,
up the 6. Okay.
oh, that's amazing. Wow. Okay, so you've mentioned running jams and podcasts and audiobooks. So, what is your playlist like? What music do you listen to? What podcasts? What books?
Okay. So let's go with music first. Have you
Okay,
ever heard of Tupac?
I have.
Maybe Biggie? Any of those people? You mix those in with, my playlist is pretty confused, really. It's having a midlife crisis, but it's a mix of hip hop and pop and country pop. And I even throw in some worship tunes that, just make me kind of clap my hands along the way if I need to.
So, you
That's
clap and
kind of,
giggle along the race.
it is possible to do more than one thing at a time, especially when you're running. Yeah. Let's see. Podcasts. I'm weird because I feel like every time I listen to this, like I'm not their target market by any means. But I listen to true crime
Okay.
podcast. I'll occasionally throw in a sermon or something, but most of the time it's like a true crime junkie, any of those that are out there. I really like this other podcast called Run Your Story. Have
Oh,
you heard of
oh, I might have heard of it.
it? It's inspiring, actually. And then books. Okay, books. I like the escapist kind of stuff where it's some other world. I love Ted Decker. He's one of my favorite authors. Have you ever read any of his stuff?
No. Mm-mm.
So he writes kind of fiction, thriller fiction kind of stuff. Just kind of stories that would be page turners,
Mhm.
but they're maybe you keep running because you want to keep listening to more of the book. So his stuff's really good.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
A lot.
so if somebody picked up your playlist, they're like, "We don't even know who this is." Like,
No, they would be like, is he a country gangster? But he loves Jesus.
and he's hid some bodies somewhere.
There might be dead people and he knows where they are. Yes.
Oh man. Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about, do you have a recovery tool that you like?
I love ice.
Mm.
I just love ice. So put it on the knees, the ankles, the everything. And a good friend of mine got a cold plunge that he
Oh,
has
okay.
in his basement. And I know there's different people with different thoughts about the effectiveness of those. I think they work pretty darn great. So cold water of any sort is definitely the key item for me, if you will. Is it an item or is that just more of like a thing?
Uh, it's however you want to phrase it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing.
It's a it's a recovery tool.
It's a recovery tool. You said tool. You didn't say tool. You didn't say item. You said tool. So it's, yeah.
So for cross training, we've talked a lot about F3. Is there any other cross training that you do, or do you use F3 as cross training?
So I use F3 as cross training for
Okay.
sure.
Mhm.
F3 will also, I said 5:30 in the morning. That's when the beat down or the boot camp will happen. And before that, sometimes we'll have a pre-run. So we'll start at 5 and we'll do a little 3 miler, something like that before we get started. So that's usually like a little run warm up, and then we go into the cross training. And like I said, it's a lot of body weight, depending on where you go work out. A lot of times it's at playgrounds and parks and stuff. So you got pushing, pulling, step ups, jump ups, burpees,
Mm,
throw it all out there.
why not?
You got 200 pounds to work with on my case.
Of muscle. of muscle.
Yeah, solid as a soft bindery.
Let's talk about a race that you're like, not really my favorite. I don't know that I'd go back and do it again. Do you have one of those?
I really don't.
Okay.
I don't know that I could ever think of a race and go, that was bad. I mean, maybe performance-wise, I could maybe think of something that I'd be like, "Oh, I could have done that differently, better. Maybe I didn't love that course." Most of the courses are decent, but I mean, we get to do it, right?
Mm.
My wife broke her talus bone in her ankle at the beginning of this year, and it's been a few months now, right? And she's still not back to full strength. And it's made me just acutely aware of the fact that I get to move my body and that I should never take it for granted. So, sure, you might have a race you didn't love, whatever, that's fine. But I look at it all as I get to do it. I'm able. So, I don't have a bad race. I don't have a worse race.
That's a great answer. So, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to start running? What is a piece of advice that you would give them?
I love this question because I feel like a running evangelist sometimes. I will talk to people about running and try to pull them in as much as I possibly can because of all that it has done for me and just the gift that it is, everything that's come along with it. So I would start with go get some good shoes, go to your local running store, get fitted, and buy what they tell you to buy because they love what they do. And then their entire business depends on keeping you from avoiding injuries. So trust their recommendations and buy what they tell you to buy. And then the next thing is I would say just show up and keep moving. If you got to run for a minute and walk for a minute as you get started, do it. Build up, keep going, and always keep moving because at the end of the day, as much as you might think that other people are watching or paying attention or care, they really don't. The running community as a whole wants you there. They want people around. So find a group wherever you live, join it, show up, be there. Tell somebody you're coming. Don't just wait and say, well, I think I'm going to go. Tell them that you're coming because then they're going to expect you and you're also going to be held accountable to be there and you'll be better for it.
That's really good.
And the last thing I would say is this: screw pace and comparison. Like comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
So if you want to live a joy-filled life, don't worry about your pace. Don't compare yourself to the person who's been running for 25 years or has giant calf muscles and some crazy ability to run crazy speeds. Go do what you feel comfortable with and don't compare yourself.
I love that. Oh, that's so good. So you mentioned a 50K. So what are some other goals that you have? Or are you like, the 50K is my next goal?
So the 50K is an idea right now.
Okay.
You know, anybody who has run those longer races, which I have not run that far, it's setting 5-0 sounds kind of gives me something I'm not really sure about. But the training for it is the thing that I am, you know, you got to train well and you've got to put a lot of time in. 3 young kids, wife recovering. We'll see. But I do have other goals. And one of my goals was to be in the best shape of my life by the time I was 40. I'll be 40 in a little bit over a month.
Wow.
And I would say that I'm probably in the best shape of my life. And to celebrate that, I'm going to do a good old 40 for 40, which is going to probably be broken up. And I've known people who run their 40 miles or their 40K on their birthday or whatever. I'm going to break it up. I've decided, hey, that's not something that I typically do. I don't typically run that far, and I don't really care to start my 40th year off with an injury, with something that I'm not used to doing or haven't trained for. But I'm going to get 40 miles in that week.
I love that. That is so cool. I love that. Mantra. What is something besides clapping and a silly song? What is something that you tell yourself when you're like, this is hard and I want to give up?
Yeah, I've got 2 things. One points to the funny. Okay. And the other thing points to the serious.
Okay.
Should I start with the funny or the serious?
It is your story.
It's my story. So I will start with the funny.
Okay.
So I look at hills and I imagine punching the hill in the face. I imagine, and I will say, I'm going to punch that hill in the face as I approach it. And that started while I was doing some training with some guys, and we were going up a hill, and we were all slowing down a little bit. And I just, William Wallace Braveheart style, was like, let's punch that hill in the face. And we booked our way up the hill. And from then on, every time we approach hills, like punch in the face. So there you go. That's one mantra, if you will.
Hey.
Anytime there's a hill, punch in the face.
Punch in the face.
And then the other thing on the more serious side of it is that I remind myself that when it's hard or whenever I'm running, that there have been so many people who've done so much in my life and for me that, again, in some ways, running is a way that I can honor the people that have poured into my life. You know, my grandma and I were amazingly close. Mama Dee's, she was just a gift of a person. And I think about how her life living injured and having had surgeries and all these different things, she would be the one who never missed anything, though. And she would push through pain. She would always be there. So I think that whenever it gets hard, think back on the people that have done that. And I go, all right, I should do this for them. I should do this for them. A bigger why than just accomplishing a goal.
Oh, that's so good. What is your favorite length to run? It could be a training run. It could be an actual running event where you're like, ooh, you get all jazzed up and ready to go. And you get to know, hey, that's the mileage I get to run.
Yeah, I really love a 10K.
Okay.
And the reason I love the 10K is because you don't finish it and go, I'm so exhausted. I need 2 hamburgers. And you can do it often, right? You can constantly get a little bit better. And then usually it's long enough to listen to most podcasts, which is great. So you can get through a whole podcast while you're running a 10K.
Yeah. Yeah. Or get through several chapters of your book.
Absolutely. You can put it on 1 1/4 speed and you might get through even more chapters.
Oh, okay. Does that pick up your pace when you do that?
It's not quite the I wish it did. I
Right.
wish it.
When you're not running and you're not at F3, what fuels you? What are you passionate about?
I really love people and I love to live in community and to really get a little bit deeper than the surface. You know, we can sit around and talk about trinkets and toys and fun trips that we want to go on, but I love to dig a bit deeper than that, whether it's over a cup of coffee, over a meal, or just being together around a fire. Being in community, and you can really include anything in that, any sort of activity. And then for my own solo time or with my kids, I love to hunt, I love to fish, and I do a bit of writing myself.
Okay.
So kind of take time to pull out a pen and paper and journal, and been doing that for a while, and I love it.
That's awesome. All right. Any final words of wisdom, my friend?
Yeah, I would just encourage anybody that's running, whether you've been running for a long time or running for a little time, to just love every moment of it. Enjoy it. Run your own story, run your own race.
Yeah.
Don't live in a state of comparison, and just keep moving. Because as long as you keep moving, you'll probably continue enjoying life and maybe even making a meaningful impact while you do it.
Ben, it has been such a pleasure to have you on. So excited. And Gray was right. He was like, this is going to be such a fun podcast. And just thank you so much for taking the time all the way from Atlanta to sit down with us and to share your story.
Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity and for what y'all are doing. And it's a blessing to get to listen and to hear other people's stories. And I hope to see y'all out there real soon. I'm running the Battleship 12K.
Yay! Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. It's on my birthday. So we're going to have to all just go out after and celebrate.
Burger joint.
I knew you were going to say that.
There. All right, I'll be there. Count me in. I'm running it. Me and my sister signed up. We're going.
Yes. Jane, the whole family. Let's go. It'll be so fun.
Let's do it.
I love it. Thank you, Ben, so much.
Thank you.
Guys, go punch that hill in the face. Yes. That was absolutely amazing, Ben. What a great thing to say with hills. And I've been saying that now. Thank you so much, Ben, for that. And also the running evangelist. That was absolutely phenomenal. So fun. And again, just so appreciative of Ben and his story and just how incredible of a human he really is. And as he's talked about in F3 and how it's correlated, that he goes back to the finish line and he cheers people on. And I think that is absolutely crucial because in my perspective, when we run, we don't know everyone's story. And so this could be someone's very first run, or it could be that they are coming back from an injury, or it could be that they've just gotten the worst news of their life or the best news of their life. We don't know. We don't know what has made them want to cross that finish line. And so it is beautiful to be able to celebrate every finish. And thank you so much for that reminder, Ben. Absolutely incredible. And as always, Gilliard Tech Services, thank you so much for making this podcast possible. Your belief in the running community, your belief in Runner's Story. Guys, definitely go check out Gilliard Tech Services at gilliardts.com. You will not be disappointed by what he can do for you. And Marcel, thank you so much for giving us a safe place to record. Even though we did it over Zoom, it was still fun, and so appreciative that we have such a cool place and that Marcel believes in our running community so much. Truly appreciate what Marcel does. And to our Patreon supporters, you guys are the MVPs. You know I absolutely love you and adore you and can never thank you enough for what you do. Guys, join the Patreon community. So grateful for a group of people that support Run Your Story and that have taken the financial burden off of Gray and I. And so we truly appreciate that. They are absolutely amazing people. So I absolutely love our Patreon supporters. So thank you so much. Guys, like, share, comment about Ben's story. It's absolutely amazing. And who doesn't want to punch a hill in the face? I'm telling you, absolutely 10 out of 10. Love that. So thank you again, Ben. And we want to hear from you. So when you post and you like and you share it, we get to see what the community thinks, and we want your feedback. It's so important for all of us. So thank you again for all of our listeners, for all of those who have allowed us to share your stories. It is truly an honor, and we are forever grateful that you believe and support Run Your Story. So until next time, guys, go run your story, because every story needs to be heard.